G. Chokkalingam is with us as always. Chokka, it's a pleasure. Thanks very much. We were just talking about Torrent Pharma maybe, which looked better, a little better.
I mean, a little better. Of course, I don't track it closely. Again, my bias is for JB Chemical, which has come out with a 60% year-on-year growth in profit. Even if you adjust for one time, still it looks like more than 40% year-on-year growth in profit, and still sitting on a lot of cash, available at around 11p on 1 year forward earning. So, but still the stock has corrected yesterday. I would suggest using this opportunity to accumulate quite aggressively.
Any other issues with JB? I mean, 60% growth in profits warrants a stock to do well, right?
Probably one reason is that they gave interim dividend. Before that, they gave excellent special dividend of 14 rupees per share. But this time, they cut down the final dividend to a very small percentage. So market, the investors were a little disappointed. They were expecting, same kind of dividend. That could be the reason. But otherwise, if you look at the balance sheet, there is a lot of comfort. There is no concern at all. Still sitting on, more than 350 crore of cash.
Okay. So the other number was Tata Power. Any interest at all? Chokka?
It's a good one, but I believe it is going to take a lot of time for the power companies to get re-rated in the market. So for long-term investors, one can definitely buy and hold, but definitely you can make more money in the short to medium term by investing in other sectors.
Do you track a company called VRL Logistics?
Yeah, I keep tracking it. There is a bubble on post-listing in most of the stocks, including VRL Logistic. Just to look at the numbers, around 11 rupee EPS, around 360 rupees stock price, more than 30 PE. These are all not sustainable, They all will correct, anywhere around 15 to 17 PE in days to come.
That is half, basically.
Certainly, that's what happened to Snowman Logistic. They had a turnover of less than 100 crore. The market cap was huge, and it was enjoying, if my memory is right, more than 60-70 PE. And then people lost nearly 50% of the money. You take a Gati, it's a quality player in logistic. About 12 months back, it went as high as 330, 340. From there, all the way it came down to 100, even below 100. So people are, perceptions are playing a major role in the short term. So one should, be very, very cautious in chasing these kind of stocks.
HSIL?
It's a good company, but, as I've been saying, it's all played out. It's in price.
Yeah, in the price. So that is a quick take on earnings as we saw them coming in. Lupin has been languishing, Chokka. I mean, back at 1500, under 1500.
As I've been saying, we stayed away, fortunately or luckily, from most large pharma companies. The companies are doing good job, but then as I've been saying, all of us know that US Fed is very aggressive. And also there is a lot of pricing pressure in the US. So both have impacted. And therefore, these companies have become victim of PE contraction. The market has seen very aggressive contraction in the PE for large pharma companies. So I don't see this PE multiple getting re-rated substantially upward in the short to medium term unless the US reduces its aggressiveness in chasing these companies, and also the pricing pressure in the US comes down.
You had stocks like Just Dial, which saw a big yo-yo move. Stock started, I think, 4-5% higher, and by close it was down 9-10%.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very unfortunate story, We have seen even Vibo Global going to 900, a lot of coverage, then losing 70%. These things keep happening. Just Dial, the point is that there is no growth in profit. So why do you pay 37 PE? So it is not sustainable, You have to give IPE as long as the company maintains a solid double-digit growth in profit. But once that gets tanked, you have to be very quick to exit the stocks. So definitely, even at this price, it's a good sell, according to me.
Good sell, not short sell.
I don't advise, because short selling,
it's a different beast. It's a different.
Not only different beast, fundamentals don't play a role in short term.
Yeah.
So people can lose heavily.
Yeah. Now, of course, with the lot sizes being much bigger as well. I mean,
more than that, what happens? Some of the floating stock is very limited. So any concentrated buying can lift the stock to any level. The same stock went to again 800, went down below 500.
Yeah.
So I would advise retail investors should not enter into such, F&O stocks at all.
Yeah.
Because I have personally
No,
seen...
I'm saying the losses can be quite large because the lot sizes are much larger now.
larger and you can be trapped.
Yeah.
I have personally seen a lot of retail investors destroying their wealth by going short in the F&O market. A couple of people I have personally seen. So
Okay.
I would advise caution.
Okay, 8 points lower on the Nifty, 36, 37 points lower on the Sensex right now. The stocks are all coming up on your screen. Torrent Power, so these are earnings impact. Let's quickly run through these names. Let me find this here. Okay, Torrent Pharma is on your screen. Tata Power reported strong numbers. That will come up on your screen. Then we have Dalmia Bharat, HSIL, National Fertilizer, VRL Logistics, Chennai Petro, Sonata Software. So we're going to put all those names up for you, up on your screens so that you can track them one by one. What do we have here? ITC, which was up 5%, is up another 0.75%. NTPC is up 0.6%. Tata Motors and ICICI Bank are up about 0.5% or so. 19, 20 stocks are higher. The rest of the 30 stocks are lower. M&M is down 1%. It's the top loser, down about 13, 14 odd rupees as things stand. Just Dial is down 5%. Just Dial was down 10% yesterday. It's down another 5. Just Dial was down 6.5 actually. Was down 10 at one point, but down 6.5 at close, down another 5% this morning. So this is what you have coming up on your screens. Right now, take a look at the Nifty and the Sensex. As flat as they come. Absolutely flat. Ashok, stocks like Ashok, Leyland, etc. I don't know if you can put up. So the National Green Tribunal has banned, vehicles greater than 2,000 cc in Kerala. It's also banned use of vehicles older than 10 years. So this came in earlier. Ashok Leyland is the leader as far as MHCV is concerned in Kerala. M&M derives about 7-8% of its UV sales from the state. So at the margin maybe makes a difference, but at the end of the day, positive for the companies, not negative news flow for the companies. These are companies in focus. Britannia, if you can put the stock up, Britannia lost ground yesterday. So the numbers disappointed after many quarters of strong performance. The stock is down 10% of the last 2 days, 8% yesterday, 2.5% the day before. It's up about 1/3% right now. So I'm just following up on a couple of names from before. VRL Logistics, Chokka, I think your prophecy is coming true. VRL is down 20%. It'll come up on your screen. There you go.
I'm not feeling happy. I am sure there will be host of retailers who are trapped in it.
Yeah.
But they should take this as a lesson. Look at Kakatiya Cement. From it has almost increased by 5 times. And I have been tracking this company for last 20 years. Every time bull run, it multiplies and then it falls 70-80%.
Which one, sorry?
Kakatiya Cement.
Kakatiya
Cement.
Okay, I don't know if you can have the name, if you can put that up.
That's what I keep advising, that you don't chase, if stock multiplies, unless you have got a tremendous valuation comfort.
Chokka, so the news Pankaj is pointing out is that VRL Logistics promoters are planning to start a regional airline.
No, just now I saw they have clarified on BSC that they are doing it in a private capacity, not through VRL.
Yeah. Okay. They apparently, the article I'm reading of the Mint newspaper website, the promoters are saying that they may sell about 2% of their stake in the company, VRL, to fund that business initially.
Whether they fund it or not, it's a big money for them because 3,000 crore market cap. I know a couple of unlisted similar logistic companies. They struggle a lot to create that kind of wealth. So they are lucky to get listed and create this kind of wealth. Even if I am in their position, I would capitalize this and not 2%, I will sell even 10-20%. And keep the money in the bank deposits.
But not start the airline, obviously.
Certainly, I will not start the airline because you keep importing 70% of your oil, and your port cost, aviation infrastructure cost is huge, and very difficult, for making money in this business.
I'm just looking at Biocon made a new high yesterday. Chokka.
Yeah,
so 645 now.
Yeah, it's a little beyond my expectation. I would not advise chasing the stock. We are holding it. But
I remember you telling me at one point that it will get to 1,000.
In 2 years, yes. I retain that outlook. There is no change. But now at this point, I think JB Chemical, can move much faster than Biocon because of the low base. And also in terms of valuation, it is, a little less than half of the valuation of Biocon. So I would suggest, for buying aggressively JB, but one can hold Biocon.
Do you track CESE, Choga? Or the same commentary, but
yeah,
it's slowly crept up to about where it is now, 570 or so.
Result also much better. At some point in time, I think they should unlock money from the retail business, which is not adding to the consolidated level. So it's a good stock. I mean, may not create a lot of wealth, but it's a good defensive bet.
Other stock which has crept up is Havells India, which is at about 370 or so now.
So valuation is stretched. I would not buy at this price.
Yeah.
And also, this same company doesn't have a consistency in the operational performance. So considering run up in the price and inconsistency in the performance, I would not buy now.
We look at Crompton Consumer as well, the new listing from the Crompton Group. That also basically, by the way, now is the valuation gap is not that large now between Crompton Consumer and Havells per se. Let's look at Sun TV. Sun TV it had a pretty interesting move. So the stock spiked up after the exit poll results and then promptly lost all of those gains. But by the way, the stock was about nearly $400 on the 13th of May. The exit polls were published on the 17th of May. The stock got to about 400. From 400 got to 433. It's now back at about 365 or so. So it's had an interesting last few days, but very volatile over the last 5 to 7 odd trading sessions or so. Let's look at Z as well. And Z is at about 432. So that's more or less, 20 rupees off the 52-week high, but more or less holding on to its gains. Z reported extremely strong numbers. Sun TV is yet to report numbers. They've already, I think, declared the date that they're going to come out with. Earnings should be this week. Tata Power is the biggest gainer on the Nifty. It's up 1.7%. NTPC is up 1.4%. Ambuja Cement, Cipla, ACC are some of the other stocks which are coming up with some gains, but it's overall a lackluster kind of day. 7 points lower on the Nifty and 25 lower on the Sensex. Mayuresh Joshi is also with us. Mayuresh, good morning. Good to have you with us here. Thanks for your time. Any earnings that you would want to highlight, Mayuresh, which you found interesting, beyond expectations?
Morning, Prashant. I think out of the whole host of numbers that have probably come last week, Manappuram Finance did stand out. And again, I think the change in the business model is going to probably abet them in the long run. Again, I think what has come out from Chennai Petros today, and again, this is purely based on what numbers have come out, and it's not a buy or sell recommendation, but I think the numbers were very, very impressive, least to say. And again, I think if you look at the overall pie, I think a few of the mid-caps have done exceedingly well, whether that be mid-cap IT, whether that be mid-cap pharma. So again, I think one really needs to understand how the earnings matrix is stacking up, what kind of valuations they are demanding at this point of time. Yes, but a few of the mid-caps did stand out in terms of how they have delivered in terms of numbers.
Choga, Britannia, any thoughts? Again, very expensive.
In fact, we have coverage on Britannia. In fact, we have a very aggressive position on Bombay Burma, its holding company. It's surprising the way it has fallen yesterday, because I do agree the company used to post 30-35% growth in profit year on year, which has come down to 14%, but partly due to spike in taxes and fall in other income. Of course, there is also a fall in the profitability as compared to what it was doing 1 year back. But the fact is that its volume is still growing in double digit, and it's also impacted by high sugar prices. But slowly they would be able to pass it on to the end consumers. And if monsoon is good, I am sure once again Britannia can pick up minimum 10% from this level.
Mayuresh, any thoughts on this one? Britannia?
Again, the stock has moved up substantially, Prashant, over the last few quarters. One really needs to understand that the kind of benefits that they received from input cost deflation, whether that be sugar, wheat, I think that was probably there in the margins, and the margins did expand over the last few years from 6-7% to around 13-14%. The management is very hopeful of maintaining margins around the current level, though you might see some amount of bump up happening in terms of prices going up, and that might take a toll in terms of the EBITDA performance. However, I think the entire story revolves around the premiumization that Britannia is basically following. And again, I think you look at the competitors. ITC has pushed very, very heavily in terms of both their capex on Sunfeast and the products allied to Sunfeast. Parle is still having a dominant market share in the glucose markets. They've still got a huge amount of distribution network. So Britannia needs to ramp up its distribution network more or less in the central parts of the country, where the presence probably is a little bit lesser than what the competitors have at this point of time. But again, I think one really needs to understand that the stock has moved out. The multiples were at higher expensive valuations. But clearly, I think if you look at the story from a 2 to 3 year perspective, and if the stock corrects another 5-8%, I think it becomes a very good opportunity for long-term investors to start nibbling.
Mayuresh, Jubilant Foodworks is selling off right now. I mean, it's down about 4 or 5 odd % or so. It typically comes up. There's no news of note so far, but it's cracking quite easily. I mean, this one, large moves. 1,055 is where Jubilant Foodworks is at now, 5 odd % lower. Again, valuation's too high?
Plus, yeah, definitely. That is why when some negative news come, they crack. Also some adverse news for the food industry in terms of, some toxic in bread. So that's a negative for the retail outlets. So probably that also might have impacted the perception. But otherwise, as you said, valuations are highly stretched.
Valuations are highly stretched. I mean, the Nifty is absolutely flat. Chokka, any thoughts on the market indices themselves?
This week we have, square off in F&O. Then, unfortunately, the strong comment has come from the Fed members about a rate hike. So probably we'll have to go through the little pain of volatility with the downside bias till the Fed hikes the rate. I think once they hike the rate, the market would accept it and discount it and then start moving up. Perhaps by that time, the initial performance of monsoon also may be good as per the forecast. So in my view, from June end, I see some hope for the market to recover significantly.
Is anything changing in Manappuram Finance? Chokka?
I think the result is slightly better, but I think, all the performance is in price. In the long term, I continue to remain little apprehensive about these, exclusive gold loan companies because, as I've been saying, banks have got into it. Now today, banks like Karur Vysya, South Indian, CUB, they are all quite aggressive in gold loan. So many NBFCs also got into gold loan business. So in the long term, I firmly believe that it is going to be difficult for them to maintain this kind of growth.
Just normalization on valuations. I don't know about the valuation where it trades, etc. now. But last 6 months, it's up 150%.
So and it moves like that and then it falls,
I've not seen it move like this for a long time, at least on the way higher.
Yeah, you are right. 3-4 years back, it moved. After that, fell very badly.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just looking at some other stocks in the broader market. So Monsanto is up 5%. 2183 is where Monsanto is trading. Now, for retail viewers, I mean, they don't usually participate in these kind of stocks.
Yeah, there is one, you are very interesting. A lot of retail investors think that they look at the absolute price. So many people say that,
it's too expensive.
Too expensive. Unfortunately, they don't look at, the valuation. That's why they lose a lot of money in the penny stocks. So, but, Monsanto may be moving up because of the global news. But in India, I think Monsanto is slightly stretched because the fundamentals have gone down in the recent time. So I would not rush to buy Monsanto at this price.
But because of the global, so Bayer made an offer which was 20% higher than the Friday's price.
Yeah.
Bayer, by the way, in the US trade corrected meaningfully on concerns that it was maybe overpaying. So it's basically the reversal of yesterday's moves. I mean, yesterday's market action. Monsanto was down 8, it's up 5-6% right now. Is it likely to trigger anything here?
Possible. In my learning, what happens in India when global MNCs, go for such alliances, they have to give offer here also. And, these MNCs, normally the floating stock is so low. Sometimes, the tactical upside happens and the global companies are forced to offer a higher price. So purely on tactical game, one who can take a little risk and buy because this happened many times in the past. If price goes to 2,500, then buyer in India would be forced to offer such price based on the 15 days or 6 months average price, whichever is higher. So from that logic, yes, those who can take a little risk can buy it.
Okay, so that is Monsanto, but it's risky. I mean, it's a punt basically.
Yeah, it's a purely a tactical game, not
something to. I mean, there's no real rationale in that sense. Yeah. Piramal Enterprises, you've liked it for a while now.
Yeah,
it's
I liked
almost
it when
at
it was
1450.
So I was sold off. I mean,
okay.
I booked profits for my clients and we closed the call because it has run up 50-55% in a matter of few months. And valuation wise, I feel it's fairly priced.
I think Chokka, you're extremely rigorous about valuations.
Certainly, short term we go through.
Usually we talk to people and they say, well, 1500 it'll go to 2000, 2000 will go to 2500.
Yeah.
Keep holding the stock. But with you always pretty particular about
because
booking profits.
I was also grounded in the market couple of times. So
no, it's a good thing. I mean, that's what we like about you in terms of a rigorous eye on where valuations are. And not
because
just
I have seen, like for instance, I just to share an experience, I bought Chemfab Alkali at 55 rupees. It came down to 4 rupee, in 2001-2. That 4 rupee was not justifiable. And including me, some of our friends also sold off Chemfab from 4 rupees, then it went to 400. So 4 was also unreasonable, 400 was also unreasonable. So a lot of learnings we have made. So definitely in the long term, you make money if you stick to the valuation.
But Piramal now too, I mean, how would, for something like Piramal where little is known in terms of what's the actual value of the subsidiaries, they're saying, for a couple of years now they've been saying that they're going to separate all the 3 businesses and list them separately.
Very interesting, you touched one point. If you permit me for 1 or 2 minutes, I'll explain. Most of the wealth creating ideas are lesser known. So in 99, when I wanted to buy Wipro, my dealer told me in Chennai, sir, you call me tomorrow, I am not able to look at the stock symbol on NSE. So in my learning, 99% of the wealth creating ideas are always lesser known. Sometimes they become boring stock, but you should have passions. And if you are confident of valuation fundamentals, you should remain invested to make wealth.
No, absolutely. And Piramal is turning out to be one of those cases.
Of course, it may run up a little more because they are talking about unlocking in terms of demerging the businesses. So the little potential could be there for in the medium to long term. But before that news came, I sold off.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Neyveli Lignite is jumping up about 5% right now. So I haven't seen Neyveli coming up as one of the top gainers in a while now. Future Enterprises is up about 5%. Tata Metallics, something that Chokka has talked about earlier, is up 5%. Tata Metallics is up about 235 rupees or so. Let's put these names up, please. And then on the losing side, we've got VRR Logistics. I mean, it's limit down 20%, no movement at all. Jubilant Foodworks is down 8.5% now. Mayuresh, any thoughts on this one? Jubilant Foodworks?
No, Prashant, I think this has to be played in the right cycle, and what is happening with the QSR industry is that a lot of competition is brewing at this point of time. What this has entailed is that the SSS growth has remained muted and is expected to remain muted for some length of time. With the kind of capex that they're following and the maintenance capex that they're expected to do, my own sense is that both on the EBITDA front as well on the free cash flow generation, the company is going to see tepid numbers come through. So again, I think one really needs to look at how the valuations have panned out. It's not going to be a slow and steady recovery for the stock. It's going to be a very painful one over the next 2 to 3 quarters, to say the least. So in my opinion, again, I think the stock might underperform the markets from a medium-term perspective.
All right. I mean, a full 10% cut, Chokka?
Not surprising, that is what we have been discussing, that when valuation comfort is not there. And,
but one thing is true with some of these heavy institutionally old names as well. They correct. How many times have we seen Jubilant Foodworks over the years get to 1,900, bounce right back to 13, 14, 1,500?
Yeah, it's like the floating stock also very limited. When I say floating stock, I normally see what is in the hands of the retail investors. Because, if you exclude a promoter, institutional, because they have a greater influence, their trading makes big impact on the price. So if you net out that and then see the retail hold, that makes a big difference in the Indian equity market for tactical reasons. So therefore, it's a game for the traders rather than for fundamental investors.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the perspective coming in. Chokka, any other stocks from your list?
Yeah, I can suggest one new stock, Vindhya Telelink. It has corrected around over 40% from the 52-week high.
Vindhya Telelink.
It has come out with very good results. It has posted 80 rupees EPS on consolidated basis. So the stock is trading little less than 8 PE and decent management, strong balance sheet. And also the value of investments in other group companies also give you a lot of comfort. So the medium to long-term investors can slowly accumulate this stock. I'm pretty confident that like Satellite Textile or RSWM, this also can give a decent return.
What does it do, Chokka?
They are into cable, telecom cable. Recently they got into EPC for telecom business. So that has
They lay cables, they manufacture cables?
manufacture cables, and also they got into EPC contract business. In the last 2 years, that has given them a big boost in the revenue and profits.
Okay, Vindhya Telelinks. Does the management come out and speak? We'll try and get them.
No. I don't know about that because normally I avoid speaking to the management.
Okay.
I do only secondary desk research.
Okay, our job is to speak with management. So we'll invite the management of Vindhya Telelinks on, and let's hope that they join us. Chokka, thanks very much for your time. It's appreciate you joining in as always. Mayuresh, thank you for joining in. Great speaking with you as always.